Hello, I'm Avaris. This is Under the Thorns. It is a visual novel, and today we are looking at Chapter 9. As the storm of emotions receded, a tide of unexpected shame washed over me. I found myself fidgeting, brushing at my flushed cheeks as I stole a glance at Edward. He stood shrouded in silence, his expression unreadable, yet a curious tinge of crimson adorned the tip of his nose. The sight, so incongruous with his stoicism, threatened to crack open the dam of my composure. I squeezed my eyes shut, silently commanding myself to maintain decorum. "Not now, Clara," I muttered, a stern reprimand to the burgeoning giggle threatening to erupt. "So, let's shift our focus. It would be wise for us to explore potential ways to break the curse or find a solution." Edward nodded.
だから、言いたいことがあるんだ。
I have something important to share with you. What is it?
やっぱりお母さんが残したネックレスが僕を守ってくれているでしょう。
Regarding the pendant my late mother left me, its intended purpose is for my protection, is it not? Based on what you've shared, yes. Skepticism gnawed at the edges of my resolve. Olivia handing over the pendant, Edward wearing it for years, it all felt too convenient. Yet the desperate hope in his eyes, the raw reverence with which he clutched it like a talisman, could doubt coexist with genuine need. The heavy silence pressed down, and I leaned in, a silent query in my gaze. As if startled by my unspoken question, Edward retreated before resuming his explanation.
お母さんが呪いに備えてネックレスを残していたとしたら、何か知っていたのではないか。
I've been contemplating whether she left it for me to confront the curse, suggesting she may have possessed knowledge about it. My eyes lit up. It was an intriguing angle I hadn't explored. That does seem plausible.
だから、先代から受け継がれた呪いかもしれないと思ったよ。
Hence, I am considering the hypothesis that this curse is an ancestral inheritance.
今までは父が怖くて考えていなかったが。
Until now, I refrained from exploring this matter due to apprehension about my father. Clearly, Robert's will was a chilling testament to his loathing, made blatantly clear in the fact that he had left out Edward's name completely. Under that cold gaze, Edward never dared to breathe a word of the curse, let alone challenge it. Only once Robert lay silent did he cautiously share his forbidden theory with me. My support fanned the flames of his conviction.
だから、今日父の書斎に寄ってみようかと思う。
Today, I intend to visit my father's study. Would you prefer some company?
でも、難しいんじゃないかな。
I appreciate the offer, but I believe it might complicate matters. You're correct. Edward's welcoming facade occasionally lulled me into a dangerous oblivion. The whispers, the disapproving glances, they were a constant reminder. A servant in the Lord's domain was a scandal waiting to brew. Instead, I'll explore alternative methods to gather pertinent information. Seasoned servants like Alice and Bruce, who'd spent years polishing every nook and cranny under Robert, wouldn't miss a misplaced book or a scuffed portrait. They might have stumbled upon something odd, and the thought filled me with a surge of confidence that didn't escape Edward's notice. He met my gaze with a knowing smile.
ありがとう。お願い。
If you please. Rest assured, I shall do my best. The thought of offering comfort to the man whose eyes mirrored the shadows of this imposing house was a flicker of light in the oppressive darkness. It emboldened me, filling my veins with a current of courage that crackled like a forbidden spark. Sighed, Edward. Father's study, that austere chamber of my childhood, remained perpetually sealed like a Pandora's box. It exuded an air of foreboding, as if breathing within its musty confines invited unspeakable calamity.
結局はこんなものか。
So here I stand after all. A resolute inhalation filled my lungs, casting the study door in a new light. Why had I danced around this threshold for so long, a marionette to a fear that no longer held its strings? To move on, to breathe freely, I had to crack this shell.
一生を逃げて生きるわけにはいかない。
My life won't be defined by constant evasion. It wasn't just for Clara, not just for anyone else. This was for me. A chance to untangle the mysteries that choked my own breath. With a murmured echo of my resolve, I creaked the door open, stepping into the unknown. Crossing the threshold, I found myself in a study as insipid as its master. Leather-bound volumes lined the walls, their titles whispering of stoicism and propriety, a fitting epitaph for a man of such unyielding nature. Pulling the door shut with a soft click, I stepped forward, only to flinch at the grimy floorboards beneath my boots. This sanctum, once a testament to Father's meticulous habits, now wore the disheveled countenance of unkept mourning. I confess, while my expectations weren't lofty, it pained me to see such neglect from those once so devoted to him. A wistful smile played on my lips as I wandered through the unfamiliar contours of the study. My steps led me to a heavy, mahogany desk, its surface marred by a light dusting of neglect. As I brushed the film away with a gentle swipe, my gaze caught upon a portrait of my mother, her youthful visage framed in dark wood. A telltale smudge, faint as a whispered memory, traced her cheek, a silent testament to his enduring love, even in the face of separation.
もしかしたら僕たちは似ていたのかもしれません。
Perhaps there's a resemblance between us. With a sigh, I turned my attention to the bookshelves, their shelves burdened by Father's relentless pursuit of intellectual mastery. Yet, nestled in the shadowed corner, a discordant note emerged, an unsettling collection of volumes devoted to the arcane arts of curses and witchcraft. A curious wrinkle formed on my brow. It was an incongruity that wouldn't sit easy with my knowledge of Father's resolutely pragmatic nature.
お父さんならお母さんのためだろう。
My father would have placed my mother above everything. If not to exercise my curse, then... My hand, drawn by premonition, hovered over the glass of the bookshelf. Ugh, I'm getting nowhere with them. My inquiries regarding the curse proved fruitless. This was particularly troubling since Edward's induction heralded a significant turnover amongst the servants. No matter how delicately I broached the subject, I encountered only impenetrable silence, as if every tongue had been bound by an unseen oath. Even those in the innermost circles of my acquaintance found cause to rebuke me. Your unending curiosity is causing issues. You could find yourself in trouble. What's your interest in the late lord and his wife? The relentless onslaught of admonitions cast a dizzying spell upon me. Desperate, I clasped my ears, vigorously shaking my head in fervent attempt to dispel the disorienting echoes. Hold on, I can only focus on one person at a time. Then pay attention properly. Alice's eyes darted across the room. She leaned in close and whispered words etched with a shadow of concern on her face. There is no one here who can help. Why? If we could provide an answer, we would. Anyway, steer clear of your new lord for a while. Not for a while. Forever. Haven't you learned? Would she really listen to that? With a solemn shake of his head, Thomas halted Alice's kick aimed at Bruce's shin. She is just worried about you, like we all are, he muttered, bearing a troubled expression. I sensed an unseen event during my absence. My concern deepened. This presents a significant problem. I absently toyed with my lips, a nagging suspicion gnawing at me. Kept at it, I figured I might just put the muzzle on everyone I was acquainted with. Whom should I confide in? I murmured, memories of countless faces fleeting through my mind. Of all the possible sources, this person seemed the most likely to hold the key to Robert's secrets. Oh no. I have to decide. Oh no. Oh no. Okay, well let's think about this logically. The three choices are Olivia, the head butler, and Brandon. I do want to say that Brandon might know something. He was the brother. He obviously didn't have a very good view of Robert, but he does have a good view of Edward. And he's been pretty helpful to him so far. So this is like the one guy we could potentially trust. We don't really know too much about the head butler. He basically showed up in the funeral chapter, if I recall. Like, that was when he got the name Alan. He's not even called that here. They've already expected us to forget it. But he seems like he's probably in Olivia's pocket. And he also was, you know, he was keeping the guests away from Edward during the funeral and all the rest of it. So that's really all we know about this guy. In theory, he's seen a lot, but like the rest of the servants, I expect he would be very tight-lipped. Olivia, I think she knows so much that I would love to know about, but I also don't think she would tell us. Certainly not in the context of helping Edward. She just does not seem interested in that. So really, it seems like the only correct decision would be Brandon, but I don't know for sure. Let's go with Brandon. These guys are obviously, if the head butler is in Olivia's pocket, and we know Olivia's kind of maybe up to no good in some sense or another. She was literally described as, like, snake-like. Then I'm thinking these two are the no-go, which means it has to be Brandon. We'll just go with it. We'll just see. YOLO. So we went to Brandon's office. Upon my unannounced arrival, Brandon extended a courteous greeting, presenting me with a cup of tea, seemingly anticipating my visit. Acknowledging my abrupt entrance, I settled into the chair opposite him, expressing my regret for any perceived rudeness. Oh, it just occurs to me. Clara has yet to say to anyone, let alone Edward yet, even though she brought this up, I think, a chapter or so ago. She needs to tell them something about what happened with Olivia and the basement and the weirdness in the, you know, grounds. Holy crud. That hasn't happened yet. She needs to. Oh well, we're doing this now. My apologies for the unannounced visit. Well, a visit from a lovely young lady is always a pleasant surprise. He responded with a pleased wink, comfortably reclining into his sofa. So, have you heard about Edward's proposal? I declined it. Now that is intriguing. It's absurd even to... This is the issue, Mr. Brandon. Why would you indulge his childish whims? Clara, this is not what you came here to ask about, but okay. Childish whims? The subtle twitch of Brandon's cheeks, coupled with a deliberate attempt to suppress laughter, hinted at an amusement derived from my transformation of Edward into a kid throwing a tantrum. My ability to navigate his mischievous tendencies had evidently improved. Maintaining an unwavering posture, I continued undeterred. Anyway, I have something to discuss with you. Please, after all the amusement you've provided, it's the least I can offer. I would like to inquire if you have any knowledge of Edward's parents' involvement in his curse. As I unraveled the narrative of Robert, his wife, and the entwining curse, Brandon's countenance underwent a perceptible shift. We made the wrong decision, didn't we? Sensing a potential deviation in the mood, I promptly tried to refocus his attention. I understand it's an uncomfortable topic, particularly regarding Mr. Robert, but this is for Edward's well-being. Engaging in a lock of gazes, I found myself clutching my clothes, sensing the onset of perspiration on my palms. Despite the discomfort, I pressed on, detailing the unfolding events. Brandon, exercising commendable restraint, absorbed the account without interjecting with comments. His reaction was palpable when I disclosed Edward's intent to break the curse. Oh dear. Yeah, we made the wrong decision. You revived the spirit, my boy, after all. A spectrum of emotions, excitement, joy, pain, guilt, and regret enveloped the room. It became apparent that Brandon harbored a profound sense of indebtedness toward Edward. Edward is currently in the study to unravel the mysteries.
Robert's study?
Indeed. Releasing a succinct sigh, Brandon exhibited a resolute demeanor, signaling an imminent revelation.
Clara, I believe a thorough and extended conversation may be necessary.
His eyes momentarily fluttered with regret before closing. The open mouth seemed poised to articulate sentiments of sorrow.
Yes, I have sinned, like the rest of us. Oh no, we were supposed to go talk to Olivia, maybe.
Sighed Olivia. In a realm where walls possess auditory acuity and doors are endowed with visual perception, I fortified my position. In a landscape bereft of trust, reliance on these sentient structures became imperative. A fallibility I cannot afford, given my unwavering commitment since the inception of my presence in this manor. Setting aside the papers, I observed the countenance of the individual who had sought entry. His visage, characterized by ingenuousness and desire-fueled eyes, bore a striking resemblance to the individual I harbor the utmost disdain for. A figure of avarice, complicit in the suffering of others, and yet exerting a sense of self-satisfaction. A subtle smile adorned my features. I appreciate the information. I shall augment your remuneration for the upcoming week. She does have spies! I knew it! It is implausible for him to entertain the notion that his subsequent remuneration would be withheld. Observing his departure, I proceeded to the rear window. The tranquil panorama of the manor unfolded before me, signaling the imminent conclusion. You have astutely pieced it together, Clara.
That you're behind everything?
The virtuous, noble child at odds with my former inclinations within such a brief temporal span. Perhaps it is this incongruity that prompts my inner demon to insidiously murmur. A curtain call for this mundane theatrical performance.
And it was Olivia all along. Indeed, as it should be.
Uttering under my breath, I drew the curtains across the window. Darkness surged within once more.
And that's the end of chapter 9. We did get more lore, but it seems like Clara probably got more than we did. So maybe 10 will let everything kind of come to a head, and we'll start to actually kind of get some actual answers. Or we'll get what Brandon's explanation is actually going to be, and what happened in the past, and where the curse came from, and all this. So, anyway. Hopefully this has been entertaining. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching and listening and stuff. Thanks. Bye.